Now, from Wish TV, your local news source, this is All Indiana Politics.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome to another edition of All Indiana Politics. I'm Phil Sanchez. Another top Indianapolis Democrat is embroiled in a sex scandal. 3 female former staffers accuse Senate Minority Leader Greg Taylor of sexually harassing them. Senate Democrats reelected Taylor to his leadership post after the allegations became public. Our government reporter Garrett Bergquist was in the Senate chamber for Taylor's first public remarks on that matter.
Taylor made only vague references to the accusations against him in his remarks and in a brief statement to reporters. But both the Senate President Pro Tem and Taylor's second in command say they're not happy about the situation. 3 female former staffers say Taylor sexually harassed them over several years. Taylor apologized for his actions in a statement to the Indy Star. This was all he had to say on the matter on the Senate floor.
And when we speak from this very powerful microphone, that we have to recognize that when we fall short, we owe a debt to them. We are going to be starting in January here to do the work of the state of Indiana and for the people who elected us. And that's what I will focus on. And I will let my actions speak louder than any word I could say from this microphone.
Taylor did not take questions after session ended. Senate President Pro Tem Rod Bray did. Was that a sufficient response to the allegations against him?
You know, that's the public is going to decide that. And let me just say that I am extremely disappointed in Senator Taylor. I've expressed that to him. We conduct ourselves at a much higher level than that here in this chamber. And as President Pro Tem, I've got the obligation to ensure that that happens, and will continue to do so.
Some members of Taylor's caucus are now making their frustrations public as well. Senator Andrea Hunley revealed on Instagram she ran against Taylor in the Democratic caucus for Senate Minority Leader. She lost, but will be Assistant Minority Leader.
It was a difficult decision for me to accept the Assistant Leader nomination. I feel that I owe it to our members, to our staff, and to our community to ensure that there is a high level of scrutiny and accountability. And being a part of the decision-making process is going to allow me to do just that.
Bray says he can't reveal how many sexual harassment complaints his caucus has faced because that's a personnel matter. He says he's willing to consider adding an independent counsel to the disciplinary process, as Democrats have proposed, but he says that also takes accountability away from senators. We also heard from Hunley's predecessor as Assistant Minority Leader, Senator Shelley Yoder. She says in a statement she stepped down from that role in protest over Taylor's alleged behavior. At the State House, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
Well, the Indiana National Guard has a new training partner. Governor Eric Holcomb visited Saudi Arabia to set up a partnership under the Department of Defense's State Partnership Program. It's the governor's 27th and final overseas trade mission. It also included visits with life sciences companies and also an early Thanksgiving meal with National Guard troops deployed overseas.
It was, for me at least, it may be old hat to General Lyles, but it was inspirational to be able to have a Thanksgiving lunch with Hoosiers in outside of Kuwait City in Kuwait. We 2 months ago sent off about ultimately 700 men and women in uniform from our Indiana National Guard here for duty, and they'll be here for a year, which means they're going to miss Thanksgiving this year in Indiana with their families, and Christmas and the New Year's. And so just to be around, it be in their presence, to be able to check in on them, to be able to fist bump them and say thank you. We revere their answering of a call that is greater than themselves was very special, and I'll never forget it. Well, I'll give you a thumbnail sketch. Another proud day to be in Riyadh and to meet with various ministers, including the Minister of Defense in Saudi Arabia, and talk about this new partnership. They were so welcoming, so warm, so hospitable, and appreciative that a state like Indiana, we are a well-known patriotic state with highly trained men and women in uniform. And for Indiana to be able to help keep this military posture in the region went a long way with them and was so good for me to see in person. And with that, I'll hand the baton to the general.
Sure, thank you. Well, indeed, it is very exciting to be able to partner with the Saudi Armed Forces, both the land component and the air component. And so the Indiana National Guard will be a key component to the regional security for both Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the Middle East because of our partnership with Saudi Arabia. We'll be working hand in hand with them to achieve their training objectives and our training objectives that'll make the readiness for both the Saudi Armed Forces and the Indiana National Guard much greater. From my perspective, one of the things I've learned as a military officer, in order to have economic development whereby foreign investment could happen inside of Indiana and where Indiana businesses could come work in the Middle East, you have to have security. And so seeing our guardsmen in Kuwait and also seeing the state partnership flourish will deepen the security around the region and make the region much more viable for businesses to invest both in Saudi Arabia and back in Indiana. Without security, you can't have business.
Obviously, the federal government has to run down a lot of different issues before decisions are made. Saudi Arabia is an ally. We were told by someone while in Riyadh that they were blessed with a lot of sun, blessed with a lot of oil, but also blessed to be in a very dangerous neighborhood. And to have allies like America, to have our presence, to be working with them in an area that threatens the rest of the world against countries like Iran, who are interfering with shipping lanes today, who are interfering with people's freedoms and liberties today. It's a proud moment for me as governor in my, waning days as governor to be able to say hello, to be able to shake the hands of the men and women in uniform who are stationed in the Middle East. We saw a very successful operation decades ago where we liberated Kuwait. And here we are today because of that effort, because of a lot of nations coming together to promote peace and prosperity. And as the general said, you cannot have economic security without national security. It's a small world, and we're going to go a lot further, a lot faster when we do it together.
Meanwhile, back here at home, Governor-elect Mike Braun has announced a major reorganization of Indiana's executive branch. Braun will implement a cabinet-style organization. The cabinet will include 8 secretaries. Each will oversee a group of related state agencies. Braun says each secretary will be held responsible for the performance and progress of their agencies. The state police and the National Guard will continue to report directly to the governor's office. Braun's transition team tells us that this does not mean Braun is creating new departments. Coming up, county-level voting data reveals some interesting trends. We'll show you the numbers. Welcome back. Indiana's election results suggest both major party centers of power are changing. That's according to a News 8 analysis of county-level election data. Our government reporter Garrett Berquist found some interesting trends.
At first glance, the election map here in Indiana looks much the same as in recent years. But if you drill down into the data, there are some changes here in Indiana that mirror the shifts we've seen nationally since 2016. Donald Trump and Mike Braun both won the state comfortably, projected as winners within 10 minutes of the polls closing. But Braun underperformed Trump by more than 4 percentage points statewide and in most individual counties. All State's Chad Kinsella says Libertarian Donald Rainwater might have cost Braun some votes.
So, he only got 5%. So, you can almost attribute Braun's underperformance is almost exactly the amount that Rainwater got, across the board.
There was one county that split its ticket. That was Tippecanoe County. Trump won Tippecanoe County by 100 votes, but Braun lost it to Jennifer McCormick by nearly 2,700 votes. Trump won Tippecanoe County in 2016, and he lost it in 2020.
Some of those demographics that are in Tippecanoe, higher education, higher income, kind of more suburban. You got a lot of younger people there, but then also Tippecanoe it's got some patterns that favor Republicans as well, and demographics that favor Republicans. So it's becoming it could in the near future surpass St. Joseph County as like Indiana's new purple county.
Braun and Trump both won every other county except Marion, Lake, Monroe, and St. Joseph counties. That follows recent voting patterns, but future election maps in Indiana might look different. Let's look at the donut counties that ring Indianapolis. All of them went for Trump in each of the past 3 elections, but Democrats made big gains in 5 of them in 2020 and added slightly to those gains this year. Take Hamilton County. Trump got 56% of the vote there in 2016. Hillary Clinton got 36%. Fast forward to 2020, and Joe Biden gets nearly 45.5%. Trump's share drops to 52%. Then this year, Harris slightly tops Biden's totals and even wins in Carmel while Trump holds steady. We saw the same trends in Boone, Hancock, Johnson, and Hendricks counties, though Trump's margin was wider. Now, if we head to Northwest Indiana, we have almost exactly the opposite pattern. Let's look at Lake County, longtime Democratic stronghold in the Chicago metro area. The Democratic candidate still won Lake County in each of the past 3 elections, but Trump gained nearly 10 percentage points from 2016 to 2024, and Democrats trended downward almost identically to how Trump did in the donut counties. So does this mean the political landscape is changing? Possibly. IU South Bend's Elizabeth Benyon says most voters are set in their ways.
We generally will not see huge percentage points with 10%, 20% of voters changing their mind over the course of a fairly short time. And so often that suggests some kind of demographic change in who's actually voting in those counties.
Benyon says it's too soon to say if the results suggest a larger trend. She says we'll have a better idea after the 2026 and 2028 elections. Kinsella thinks it's a trend.
I think overall there's some changes that are going on. There's some balancing, and I think you can kind of see the trends already there. I think your donut counties are going to continue to trend more and more Democratic. I think you're going to see some other changes, Lake counties and the region trending more Republican. So it's just there's this really interesting upheaval right now, and some of it might be the Trump phenomenon, but the parties are evolving, and the people who vote for those parties are also evolving.
Regardless, Benyon says both major parties should work to mobilize voters in areas where those shifts have happened.
And although if you're used to being a safe majority party in a particular county or particular district, that may not be comfortable. In many ways, it's good for democracy. It really does put the voters in the driver's seat.
Benyon says the tightening of vote margins, particularly in places like Tippecanoe County, shows every vote really does count. I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
And you can see the results for all 92 counties on our website. Just go to wishtv.com, head to the political news section, and click on the article for this story. Coming up, Indiana's best political team takes stock of the sexual harassment scandal at the State House and changes to President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet nominees. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics as we welcome in 2 members of Indiana's best political team, Democrat Dana Black and Republican Mario Massalabani. Let's begin with the sexual harassment allegations against Senate Minority Leader Greg Taylor. Dana, this is the second, as you know, major sex scandal involving Indianapolis Democrats in a matter of months. So what should the party do both about Taylor and to prevent further scandals going forward?
Well, unfortunately, this is not a Democratic issue. It is and I know that everyone wants to say that we don't want to talk about identity politics, but I'm going to identify one thing. 81% of women have reported that they've either been sexually assaulted or harassed. What that tells me is there are not enough men who are willing to recognize that a woman's body is her own. There are too many men believing the Nick Fuentes's of the world when he said, "Your body, my choice." I need more men who do not believe that it's okay to sexually harass or bother women and not let them have dominion over their own bodies, to stand up. And I need you guys to deal with your homeboys and tell them to stop it. Diego Morales has had the same thing. Donald Trump has been accused of sexually harassing women. Unfortunately, this is a male problem, and I'm going to need men to step. Now, 43% of men have said that they've been harassed as well, but I need y'all to step up and take care of your brothers so that you can protect your sisters, your mothers, your wives, whatever it is. These are women that are walking around the world, and guys, stop it. Just stop it.
Well, yes. Cut it out, right, Mario?
Well, Phil, I agree that you need to cut it out. It's 2024, almost 2025. You know, a person should have the right to be able to work and go to school without being sexually harassed. But again, you know, Dana's trying to deflect from the issues within the Democrat Party in the state of Indiana and try to throw out Republican names nationally. But again, they have a serious
Diego Morales?
issue here. Hold on, Dana, let me finish. I let you speak, right? So, you know, Dana talks about the national Republicans, but what about the Democrats here in the state of Indiana? The Democrats talk about how they're here to protect women's rights, but where is that? You know, with Mr. Cook at the mayor's office, you know, we have at least 3 people that have made allegations against him. You know, multiple people within the mayor's administration, Hogshead's administration, have talked about the fact that it's a toxic culture, that they are, you know, concerned for their own ability to work. You know, that now we have this case with, you know, Senator Taylor, and he then gets voted in again as for leadership. So they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
Well, Mario,
they talk about protecting women's rights, but where are they?
Where are the men? Where are your homeboys making sure that everything is good?
You know, Greg Taylor, you know,
Diego
as
Morales,
minority leader.
Diego Morales, you are not wrong. I don't believe that he should have been voted back in as minority leader. I wasn't in that room. I wasn't having that discussion. But the bottom line is, it's not a Democrat or Republican issue. It is a man keeping their hands to themselves issue. And anything other than that is irrelevant. And again, it's a culture in our nation where we just discard the woman's body and feel like that it is free game for anybody that wants it. And for the men who do not agree with that, you are not standing up to the men who believe. You're not standing up to them.
100%.
Correct your voice. I can't go into a men's locker room and tell a man what he should and shouldn't do. Y'all need to raise y'all sons better.
But Dana, the problem is when a Republican says it, when Republicans called out for it, you know, you guys jump on it and don't talk about it's a man issue. Or a woman
I talked about it when they brought it out when Mayor Hogshead. I told him where he went wrong. Again, this is a man issue. This is not a Democrat or Republican. You can try to make it that way. Happen. And my point is, I can give you multiple examples of every party, of every demographic, where men just do not honor the space in the body of a woman.
Right? So, hey, Mario, is there any chance, though, that Taylor's forced to step down as Senate Minority Leader, if not resign from office outright?
No, I don't believe so. You know, if you know, the Democrat senators within his own caucus voted him in, unless there is something else, if there's criminal charges of some sort brought against him, that's the only way this is going to happen. Just like with Hogshead, he was able to deflect and drag this out. So, you know, I don't see anything happening to Taylor unless these women are able to file criminal charges against him.
Dana, should he?
I think he should step down. And I actually agree with Mario. I don't believe that anything will happen to him because, unfortunately, in the good old boys club, they protect each other. They protect each other instead of standing up against what is right and standing up for what is right and standing against what is wrong. So I actually agree with Mario. I don't think anything is going to happen. I actually have a relationship with Senator Taylor, and I am incredibly disappointed to find out these things about him. But again, somebody needs to stand up to these men who feel like it is okay.
Dana, I want to jump in here because I'm almost out of time. Should the General Assembly, in your opinion, do more to protect women?
Absolutely.
As an employer.
The fact that we're even having this conversation is ridiculous.
And Phil, I agree with Dana on that. I was a lobbyist at or a government services employee that lobbied the State House, and there is a serious problem at the State House as it pertains to protecting interns, as it pertains to protecting lobbyists, and protecting other people that deal with that. I truly believe that there is an issue there that needs to be addressed. There is an issue there that we need to have stricter laws for the legislators, both the senators and the state reps, as it pertains to how they handle their interns, how they handle other individuals within that. So,
and we also need to elect more women. Maybe we can bring those numbers down.
Well, there you go. Okay, well, we will leave that there. Thank you very much, both of you. Spirited conversation as always. We had a lot to get to, but obviously this dominated the conversation today. Good to see you both. We'll talk to you soon, and we will be right back.
Thanks
for joining us for All Indiana Politics. We'll be back here next Sunday morning at 9:30. Also, be sure to check out the All Indiana Politics podcast online at wishtv.com. Have a great rest of your weekend and a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.